With the grand finals of the 6th season of the Intel Extreme Masters, I'd like to introduce you to ESL TV's brand new website. Check out beta.esl.tv. Leave a comment because we'd love to have your feedback. Now, I'd like to go ahead and toss it to our casters as we're going to move forward to our next match.
And we are back here. I have magically switched seats. I don't know how to do it. I use magic to do it. I literally levitate over.
That's amazing.
Did you watch some of that game, David?
I watched the entire thing. I was in the crowd the entire time.
Wow. I have to say, people accuse me of having favorites in this game, but I was sitting here with a grin as well, just watching Hotshot doing his thing. Because that's exactly what he was doing his thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what game we're going to watch right now, because as you just explained to me, because you are better at math than me.
Maybe.
Anyone who loses their game right now can still drop out of the group.
Yeah.
And the reason is we're going to look at victories, and shorter victories are counted higher. So anything is possible.
So basically here's the run of what's going on. So there are 3 teams that are 3-1 right now. Dignitas, Against All Authority, and Counterlogic Gaming.
Yeah.
Now, Counterlogic Gaming will be fighting Fnatic, and Fnatic is 2-2.
Yeah.
And Dignitas will be fighting Against All Authority. Now, the winner of Dignitas versus Against All Authority will be 4-1, and they will pass, and they will be just fine, and they'll be doing great. Now, the other thing going on, though, is CLG fights against Fnatic, and if CLG loses, then they will be 2-3, and so will 3-2, and so will Fnatic.
Right. So anything is still possible. I'm not entirely sure who we are going to go for. Both matches are going to be super interesting. I would definitely like to see some more CLG, because they definitely seem to have found a rhythm right now. But the Dignitas, is it Dignitas versus, it must be Dignitas versus AAA then, the other game?
Yeah.
Oh man, that would be an amazing game to watch as well. I have not followed what Dignitas have done in the last couple of games, but they're 3-1 as well, right? So they must have won everything except for the game against Fnatic.
Yes, that's correct.
So wow, they're looking very, very strong. AAA and Dignitas is probably going to be the closer game. As much as it pains me to say, CLG versus Fnatic, I would not put a lot of money on Fnatic. Maybe like €5. Not much more at this point.
Okay.
CLG are going to win that. I'm not sure which one we're gonna cast. It could still be super interesting though, because Fnatic, they have been known to just pulling through magically at offline events. So I'm just going to be as surprised as you at home. I think the schedule called for Fnatic versus CLG, but I think we are flexible with the last game of the day, which this is going to be already. Wow, it was a quick day.
Yeah, we're up to the last game of the day already. It's our 7th match of the day, and of course we've still got another 4 days of matches. We have Group B just as long as Group A the next day, and then we've got even more going on with the quarterfinals on day 3, the semifinals on day 4, and then the grand finals in the 3rd place match.
Wow.
I forget if the 3rd place match is the last day or on Friday, but still we've got a lot more games to go, and those actually from the quarterfinals on become best of 3s. So even if you're like, well, it's only 2 matches, it's maybe 6.
Yes.
So, and that doesn't suck by any means. So we have a lot of League of Legends still to come through in this tournament. And as we were talking earlier, right, if CLG loses to Fnatic, if Fnatic beats CLG, those teams are 3-2. Automatically, one of the teams between Against All Authority and Dignitas is going to be 3-2, whichever team loses there. And as you said, right, the teams that win fastest are going on. And one thing to point out is Fnatic had a very slow win against Dignitas, so that's going to kind of count against them. That if Dignitas, basically Dignitas can lose, and if CLG takes long enough, then we're going to be good to go. And I think we're actually going to show Fnatic versus CLG.
So that needs to be a fast win then. So if they want to have any chance of moving on, let's see.
They're going to want to win fast.
That's the way you win against CLG as well. You're not going to win against CLG in a 60-minute game, because that's their game. Once it goes into that territory, that's where they feel at home. That's the late game that they are so good at.
You're right, and that's one of the things I actually wanted to point out as I was watching the game, is you look at their lineup, and it was like Vayne, who's super late game, but if you watch Hotshot the first time he went back to base, or the second time he went back to base, he bought Philosopher's Stone, Heart of Gold. He's against Yorick. Yorick is a bit of a lane bully, but I'm Udyr. I can sustain that. but he's not bursty, so I don't need to like build up a Wriggles right away or build up all these things. I can just rely on health regen and turtle stance, and so we just built for the late game. And you saw Shen also get a Heart of Gold as one of his first pickups there, and so they just sort of built for that late game. And the surprising thing that happened, and actually you had called it out right before though, was there is the 4v3 jungle invade on Counter Logic Gaming's blue buff. But what you had called out was that York was sitting on 2,600 gold. And so he had the Mana Mune, but he did not have any, because he went Ignite instead of Teleport. He was basically sitting on no durability, and as the team fight wore on, you just saw him get immediately dropped down as soon as they landed a charm, and he got killed. And then, they won the 2v1 at bot lane. Devane Janna kind of blew up Corki, and it's like, well, it's gonna make that really difficult for you. Yeah. And I think they might have just recalled at the correct times and had those items there.
Yes, I see it. There's another game being opened right now, Millennium versus Alternate. Maybe we should watch that. Maybe we shouldn't.
I mean, we could always sit in it as we wait for the next game to get hosted. That's always a possibility, but I don't know if that's exactly in the cards for us right now.
What's your prediction though for CLG versus Fnatic?
CLG Fnatic, I mean, just in sort of the interest of keeping it exciting, I kind of want Fnatic to win because it still leaves it up in the air that CLG can move on and everyone has their, their chance. But I kind of want to see that just as the sort of cooler situation. Yeah. I always find ties and those kind of things really interesting. So that's kind of going to be what I want to see, just in terms of making it interesting.
And it's sad that one of these 4 teams already has to leave the tournament today, but. That's the way it goes in the tournament. I think we're going to see one or two things. We're either going to see something brilliant happen in the first 20 minutes where Fnatic just take it from there, or CLG just basically beat them into submission. That's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah, CLG are definitely an amazing late game team, whether it's because they stack Gold Pretender or they pick late game carries like Vayne. And well, the thing is, Vayne also was crushing faces like 20 minutes in as well. So you can't exactly say, she was only pacing for the late game. But yeah, CLG are really good at taking hour-long games and making them theirs. And even in games where they're losing, like if you look at the last online tournament between CLG and Dignitas, that game 3 where Dignitas got that Baron steal with Shyvana jumping over the wall and smiting over St. Vicious. They still managed to hold on for a very long time. It was like 2 to 3 Barons afterwards, and another couple of 7 inhibitor kills later that they finally got grounded into submission. But CLG are really good at taking these long-paced games. So that is an advantage of theirs. Looking back at how Fnatic have been playing, is they've usually been losing the early game. You look at their game against Dignitas, they lost early game and came back with a Baron steal. You look at against All Authority, and they got grounded into submission very, very early. And so, I don't know if this is playing into CLG's favor at this point. If they have not been winning early game, is there any chance for Fnatic anymore? And I'm not really quite sure.
Well, one way to find out only. We still don't seem to have the game up, so I'm not entirely sure if we're still waiting for the players to do the last touches there. There's still one player missing. We see Fnatic here setting up. Currently, it's Lamia talking, and the team is getting ready right there, and we can't see CLG quite yet.
Yeah, and you can see the close-up there on XPK. And if you want the whole roundup there, there's Melisande in the front right. There's on the far right is Shushe. You've got the back of Cyanide, and then on the far left is Lamia. Yep. And so you can kind of just, memorize the face and memorize the names. This is actually, I think, the most stable roster in Europe, in competitive for sure. League of Legends.
Oh, actually, yeah, even more stable than CLG. TSM, yes.
CLG has been probably the longest-standing team name, but they have had some roster changes. Yeah. Team Solo Mid have been very stable for a very, very long time. I don't know if they actually beat Fnatic for longest consistent 5-man roster, though. I'm actually not sure which one has the longer term roster.
Cynide's been on the team for a very long time as well, but they did run Wet Dream as a jungler last year, so that was the last change that they had at Season 1, and TSM would definitely with the same setup at Season 1 already. And we're still waiting for one player, I guess, from... It must be from CLG then, who isn't quite ready, because I think that's 5 people, Yeah. And you can see we're zooming in on Melisande. They're currently preparing the team, probably trying to talk them up with this. Guys, we can do this. This is going to be definitely make or break for Fnatic. Yeah. I feel that if they win this is going to give them the boost that they need to take it through the rest of the tournament. But I would not put a lot of money down on them. And these guys that we're looking at right now, we're looking at George, Oddshot, of course. These guys look so strong, so nearly unbeatable.
Yep, they were definitely looking pretty great, but looks like we have our players ready. Everyone is un-AFK, so guys, turn your attention to the stage, or if you're on the stream, stay on the stream, and we'll have them coming up to you in just a second.
All right, now let's move on to the next match. We have Fnatic versus CLG, so let's welcome them both on stage.
All right, guys, here we are on stage. We do have CLG and Fnatic about to go head-to-head. I have Doublelift and Shushay with me here. Basic, let's start it off. How are you feeling about the tournament? You know, George said you guys were feeling pretty good. That game did not feel bad at all. How's it going to go? How's it going to turn out?
It felt really great. Like, the tournament so far, yeah, it's been going awesome. And, yeah, we had, like, a small hiccup the first game against Dignitas, and we just didn't let it get us down. And so, yeah, we're having lots of good times.
And same for you guys. You know, there's been a little faltering. There's been a lot of strength. How are you guys feeling?
Well, I think that the CLG, for example, got better momentum right now, but I think we are ready to break it.
All right. Any tricks up the sleeve? You don't have to say them, but are you guys planning something for this game?
I can tell.
All right. You guys ran a really strong composition. Are you going to look to do that again? Not with the same ones. Obviously, you're going to look to run a strong one. But are you going to focus another hotshot champion or something like that?
I mean, we've been practicing a lot of different compositions lately. Like, we just saw the opportunity to run that, like, ridiculous Udyr backdooring kind of thing, and, yeah, we just took advantage of it because we're pretty versatile now.
All right, well, good luck to both the teams. CLG versus Fnatic going underway in just a few minutes. Let's head back to the guys in the booth.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the booth, and indeed we are going to have this game underway very, very soon, and there's a couple of things to talk about as we've learned throughout this tournament. So one of the big things we've seen go on is Shen, and Shen is 3-0 in this tournament so far. 2 of those games are from CLGs. He's actually been played as the St. Vicious jungler now both these times, and you got to kind of figure if you're Fnatic, you got to look at these games so far, and if 2/3 of CLG's wins have come partially from this champion, you do need to control that a little bit. The other thing on Fnatic's side is their Ashe is 2-0. It's the only champion they've had consistently win both these games so far. Other carries, they're 0-2 with other carries. They've got to kind of consider those as major factors as well.
Does that mean that Shen moves on to the quarterfinals?
I think Shen's going to move on to the quarterfinals. Ashe is pretty likely as well. But, you know, we look at some of the earlier matches in CLG, banned Ashe against All Authority. And, you know, you commented that was kind of an obscure ban that normally, you know, Yellowstar's not really known as an Ashe player, but Lamia certainly is. And, you know, CLG knows to be afraid of this champion. So I think, you know, these teams are making some really good calls so far. And Fnatic, if they're smart, should know to ban Shen as well, because the other Shen game was against Fnatic. It was against All Authority, grabbing them, and Soaz played him solo top, and Shushay got pretty much pooped on in that case. So you got to think about, you know, these picks and bans and learning of what champions have beaten them, what champions they've been able to defeat. And I think you're going to see the Ashe ban and the Shen ban. Those should be almost just gut reaction, obvious bans.
And if I was in CLG's shoes right now, I would most definitely also ban out Cannon, because it doesn't really seem that Shushay has well done there. That camera, well done.
I saw myself on camera. I had to do something about it.
Yes. Shushay hasn't really been able to show a convincing game on another champion, and he definitely knows what to do with Cannon and top lane. He can shut down lots of top laners as well as Cannon. So I would not be surprised to see that ban as well. And I think we're going to a Fnatic raid called Melisand's game. Yeah,
we do have that one. You can see now the Fnatic lineup. Just saw Shushay. There's Lamia. And it looks like Fnatic's going to be blue team in first pick, and there we have Melisand, and he is the host of this one. The final one should be Pekka, and I think actually we might have missed part of the roster there with PK and Cyanide somewhere in that lineup as we scroll back over. And there's Cyanide.
And Peke next to him.
Yeah, indeed. So we're going to, again, call the players out. You can start recognizing them on the lands. And there is Piqué, the Spanish solo mid player. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Is it Piqué?
I
is
have
it
no idea. I pronounce it differently every time I say it.
Me too.
I'm bad. I'm bad.
Also, do you pronounce the X in front?
I do sometimes. I pronounce it Pique so it rhymes with Enrique. That makes sense, right?
I like that.
Enrique X Pique. Huh?
Okay, you know what? I like it. We're going to do that from now on. That's a great idea. Unfortunately, Freak does not rhyme with David, nor does Xenon with Daniel, but I think we'll be okay. So, yes, indeed. And the players are saying ready question mark, so hopefully we'll be going underway very, very soon. Yeah, that's from Fnatic, so I am RDY. So very ready from the spectators. Fnatic asking if we're ready, and we're going to see if CLG is as well. We see them sitting down. There's St. Vincent on the far left, or not, sorry. Okay, anyway, Big Fat LP, there's Chauster, there's Double Lift. The first one on the very far left is Hot Shot, but you can kind of get that roster going through there. Double Lift looking over, and we're just kind of focusing right now on Big Fat LP, their solo mid-mage player. He's going to be fighting XPK, and that's going to be quite the matchup. So we are into picks and bans now. Fnatic are going to be dropping off that Udyr right away.
Wow, instantly dropping out
and there's
the
the Ashe as well.
Yeah, so that's pretty much exactly as we predicted so far. The Udyr we didn't predict, but it does not surprise us, does it?
Not in the slightest. Here we go, the Rise. And there's the Kennen drop off as well. You've been calling these bans pretty well. That Kennen drop. It's a very, very good choice there.
It limits Shushay to a couple of champions he's not as comfortable with. And while it sounds mean, that's exactly what you want to do. You want to make the enemy uncomfortable. You want to make them choose something that's like B tier in their personal strength, basically.
Sure. Another thing we actually haven't seen, and there's the Shen ban. Even though their first pick, which is a little troubling, is that, you know, Fnatic, apparently they're just not comfortable in Shen. And, you know, when the champion's undefeated in a tournament, it's usually a good idea to keep picking that guy. And it's the kind of thing where, with the interview with MoMA, he was saying that, you know, even if you're not that practiced with the champion, if the champion's that good, you got to just run him sometimes. And that's kind of a downside of Fnatic. They're apparently not able to do this for themselves.
Not a lot of variety in the picks there in top lane. And Twisted Fate banned against XPK, even though he didn't play. I mean, he was like a 1-8, 10 Twisted Fate in the game that they won against Dignitas, but still, it was not great. Okay, so they really value the jungler here. That's strange. Janna has been the first pick for a lot of these games, and that's by the way, that's exactly what our two design guys called over breakfast this morning.
Yeah, they did.
It was Janna is going to be the most contested support, but this time they're like, Cynet is so good on Nocturne. He can win games without leveling shield until level 13. Did you catch that?
Yeah, I did in the chat. He was talking about how he missed his key binding and just never ranked up his shield.
Yeah, but he's that good. He doesn't even need the shield.
It worked out for him.
Yeah. He is going to feel comfortable on that. The backbone of Fnatic really is XPK and Cyanide. These are the two guys who are try-hards, if you want to call it that way. They take it most seriously. They train the hardest. We see a Galio picked up here in mid lane. It's a decent early
support
pick.
Galio. No, it's support Galio. If they're picking it this early, it's support Galio, because this is the kind of pick, or they're not going to do it. But you don't rush for a Galio pick if it's top or mid lane, because that's too counterable.
Well, I'm not sure if GG can play Galio mid. If it would have been
Hotshot plays him.
Yeah, Hotshot plays him top, right? But you can even play him mid as well. Yeah. So it would still not show your cards entirely. But I would love to see a support Galio, but CLG can't afford to take risks right now, and I feel that support Galio is a risk.
They've played him many times, though. They have played him to win. I've actually seen Saint jungle him as well, though I can't guarantee that's really the call there, but I've seen it happen. They might say that, you know, okay, we know what Nocturne can do. Galio's a good counter to Nocturne, and it kind of works. Nocturne does not have a good way of breaking that ult. We can see the Janna coming in there now as an available choice. The Caitlyn's super safe, and I'm a little bit surprised by it, just because you normally choose Caitlyn as like, oh, they picked something like Misfortune or Sivir, who are very aggressive early on, but you know, not really high range, not a lot of high mobility in combat, so you can use Caitlyn to really poke at them. But we're going to see Ezreal possibly come out here, and we actually, it was in one of the games actually off screen, but Double Lift ran an Ezreal against, I believe it was, I want to say Ultimate or Millennium, because we've seen them play the rest of the matches, so obviously it has to be one of the two. But he basically picked up something like a quadra kill in an extremely close fight and turned the game around for them. So we saw Ezreal clutch a win earlier. We're going to see Lamia playing Ezreal in this game game, I mean, it's possible you can play him as a mage, and Shushay or PK could pick that up, but it's likely to be a Janna Ezreal bot lane.
Lamia is known for Ezreal a little bit. He likes him. He's one of the few people who always stuck with Ezreal, no matter what people thought of the champion. And it looks like it's going to be Jungle Mundo, actually, if that's going to be locked in.
Yeah.
The Ezreal Janna lane it's a nice lane because the Janna shield is going to make the Ezreal poke even stronger. Yep. So that's a good thing to have there. And you want to be able to poke against Caitlyn because Caitlyn just has the largest level 1 range of all AD carries, I believe. Yes, Tristana outranges her at level 13, 14 or so.
Oh, so yeah, something like that. I think it's 550 plus like 7 or 17 per level. So at some point it does break even. But also
575, I think, on Caitlyn is the base range, something like that. It's a really high.
Caitlyn's 650.
It's 650. Wow,
yeah,
really?
Yeah,
wow.
She beats Ashe. Ashe is 600.
All right. Okay.
And so, yeah, we are going to have that Mundo pick up. And Aurelia is one of the... Actually, no. So Hotshot actually played Aurelia in both the off-screen games. Only got 1 kill between both those games, by the way. He just was full assist Aurelia.
How many thousand CS, though? That's the question.
Probably like 5 million.
Yes. What?
Oh, I haven't seen... Shushay does play a good mean talent.
Yeah,
and we haven't seen that grabbed in quite a while, but we saw him at New York, and that actually worked really, really well for him.
Yeah.
And so I like that option. He knows he's fighting Aurelia at this point. They could send Vlad there, but I think it's going to be... Because you don't want to send Talon mid without knowing who's going to be mid. Also, I think they might have expected Galio as a mage pick, so they're going to pick Talon against that.
It is indeed the support Galio, isn't it?
The support Galio, it's Jungle Mundo, it's Aurelia Sula top, and Caitlyn there with the Galio, and the Ahri mid. We just saw her just last game for CLG. It worked extremely well. They did get that win over Against All Authority, and it's like, if you're going to beat a team who was 3-0 in the group up till then, you can't really hate in that lineup too much.
Is this a late game lineup though? Tell me that. I don't see any late game hyper carries really.
For CLG, I think they're going to rely on Aurelia getting really beefy and unkillable. I mean, Galio ult just in general, he's a little bit of a weaker laner, but he turns into a giant AoE monster later on. And when you consider you've got, Caitlyn's going to be super safe, and she's going to use that to get her scaling. But yeah, the support's not going to give her any damage like a Janna or a Nunu would. So Caitlyn's going to not be nearly as dangerous as Ezreal. But you've got a big Galio ult. You've got Aurelia going to be a giant bruiser. The same thing with Dr. Mundo. Ahri's cooldowns are low enough that she can kind of start spitting out some DPS, so they kind of have a good shot there. They've got some burst potential as well. You look at Fnatic's lineup, and I like them for late game more. Talon and Vladimir scale super hard. I feel like Nocturne scales a little bit harder than Dr. Mundo. And again, I like the Ezreal scaling plus the Janna. So I actually like Fnatic's late game potential. But CLG, of course, are just good at late game. And they're really good at poking. And when you have a champion like Caitlyn, she can poke turrets from very far away, and that's always a possibility.
The lineup on Fnatic also strikes me as somewhat of a jump in and do massive damage lineup.
It's very bursty.
If you hit that Vladimir ultimate, then you just get the Cyanide going in with a Nocturne ultimate. You get Shushay jumping in with Talon, probably triggering his ultimate as well. Lamia can, even if he feels crazy enough, he can use the E offensively and go in as well. So it is super bursty, and if they get somebody like the Ahri or the Caitlyn locked up there, or just hit by the Vladimir ultimate, really?
And CLG again doing the little the joke swap. They had a hot shot on Mundo and St. Vicious on Aurelia for a second.
Yeah, they like doing that.
They're trolling a lot.
Why Ghost? Why not Flash on Vladimir?
I guess the goal is that he's going to ghost pool, and figure if you're going to be untargetable during pool, right, you're going to get, I think it's 2.5 seconds of untargetability, and it's whatever, and you probably cover more distance with 2.5 seconds of ghost than the flash.
Okay, that makes sense.
With the additional sort of team fight utility and the movement after the fact and all that, that's probably the goal there.
And it's also for chasing and cleaning up, I guess, if the fight goes that well.
I mean, there's flashing over walls, which you can never really replicate with Ghost, but aside from that situation, generally speaking, Ghost will take you much farther, so I do see that.
Oh, and it's the Mundo skin. It's the Halloween skin with Dr. Mundo dressed up as Dr. Mundo. This is one of my personal favorites. It's just wonderful. Yeah, we are very, very excited to see this game here. It's not as clear-cut, like you just said. The CLG are still going to be good in the late game, but there's 2 reasons why Fnatic need to win this early. One of them is that CLG have a home advantage in the late game because that's where they live. The other one is that it comes down to game win lengths here right now. A super exciting game that could still give Fnatic a chance to go on in this group. So one last time for today. Let's make some noise for Fnatic versus CLG. I guess that's some noise.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the show. And you can see the lineups here. Cyanide going to be playing that Nocturne, has already learned Q. This is, by the way, fnatic, in case you guys are not super familiar with the scene. XPK going to be the solo mid mage on Vladimir. Got Melis on the support player on Janna. Shushay going to be solo top as Talon. You look at that build, and by the way, he's stacking a lot of magic resist. And you can, actually, unfortunately, I think we have the players' names, or the picture of the players at the bottom left. But he's actually got almost no base armor, all magic resist. So he's actually going to be running into mid and going to be fighting against Big Fat LP. So he's actually going to be a bit of a lane swap, so PK will be top.
Nice.
Lamy, of course, on Ezreal. Going to be the AD carry for Fnatic. St. Vicious over here, Dr. Mundo, has already learned his Burning Agony. Going to use that to jungle. He's going to be jungling Dr. Mundo, of course. Smite and Exhaust, which means a lot of aggressive pushes. Hotshot GG on Aurelia. A lot of base stats.
Tell me, does Aurelia really beat Talon that strongly in lane?
I don't think you even want to have that fight. I think you want to just like say, hey, look, our Vladimir is a champion who can go top or mid, no problem, and we're going to grab Talon. And the thing is, maybe they expected, because of all the bans they did, because of the Rise ban, etc., that they knew they would be safe for the Talon pick.
Yeah, I see. It's definitely going to be more fun for Shushay in mid lane, which is really where he wants to be. But he is going to have to show some amazing play to push this Galio out of lane. I don't think he even can. It may just be a passive farming lane, because Galio is just going to farm very, very safe. He's going to be given probably the second blue buff. I guess St. Vicious wants to start with the first blue buff. Actually, no, it's not. I keep forgetting it's not Galio. It's against Aurelia. Oh, Aurelia came mid lane. Okay, it was supposed to be against Ari. Yes, of course. Yeah, not Galio. The support Galio still, it messes with me.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, but that team fight late game is going to be pretty interesting. Once he gets 6, they're going to do some crazy things. They're going to get probably Dragon for free in those points. So good job by CLG doing that lane swap, getting Ari up there, and an immediate gank from Nocturne. And of course, Ari at level 1 doesn't have any way of leaving. Oh, Cyanide misses the Q, and he's going to have to back off. They will at least deny some minion kills that way, but this is going to get bad for Talon pretty quick, I think.
For Talon or for Vladimir?
I think Vlad's going to be okay against Ari. I don't think it's going to be that harsh, but I think Talon versus Aurelia is not a lane they want. He didn't, like I said, get any early armor from his runes, so he's going to be relying just on level up and stats. And, right now he's doing okay. He's pushing with Rake, and he's doing all right against Hotshot, but I think that'll start to get scarier as the game goes on.
What is the function of support Galio during the laning phase before level 6? What does he do?
So you can Q spam and harass that way. You can see he's down to half mana right now because of that. You also have, it's not as good as a Janna shield, but you have that Bulwark shield.
Yes.
So he can tank damage, and the function of Bulwark, by the way, is it does 2 things. So 1, it gives a lot of armored magic resist to whoever you target, so that guy is going to get really tanky really fast. The other thing it does is whenever that target takes damage, Galio gets healed. So Galio can take some damage and then Bulwark Caitlyn if Caitlyn ever gets focused, and she's going to get basically health back on Joust. You can see those Q spams doing
St. Vicious is setting up for a gank in mid lane right now. Shushay is not doing him a favor coming close, but there he goes, and he slows down, and Shushay has to flash out of the cleaver. So successful gank, forcing a flash out of Shushay there in mid lane.
Yep, absolutely the case. It's going to probably still be scary over and over. And the thing is, that lane's not going to get any easier for him. He's going to, and actually that probably would have been even scarier for Ari, honestly, because she can have that charm and she can push minions out of the way, etc. And of course, though he blew Flash, Mundo still has Exhaust, which means Shushay's going to get caught out again very, very soon.
Yep, St. Vicious just coming back right away, and they're doing the right thing here. CLG identify as weakness, and Hotshot going in with a flash very aggressively. There's the exhaust on Shushay. He's not going to live with that. That's going to be first blood picked up here by Dr. Mundo, dressed up as Dr. Mundo. And yeah, exactly what you say. He just came back immediately, and they identified a weakness, as I was beginning to say, and they took advantage of that fact. And it's not just that they're pushing Talon out of lane, it's also that they're messing with the minds of Fnatic. Shushay has not been having the best tournament. He is definitely the weak point right now, and they're just like, you know what? We identify the weak points, and we're just going to poke it until it falls over the whole thing.
And it's a really good strategy to do that as well. It's definitely working for them. They have gotten that first blood already. Aurelia is up a number of minions as well. And the one cool thing I actually like about the CLG lineup is they're actually pushing really hard at the bot lane. And what they're doing is they're using Caitlyn's long range to poke Ezreal when he last hits a turret, because they know that Ezreal's going to walk up to the same spot every time to get these last hits. He doesn't have time to sort of move back and forth because he has to land an attack every time the cooldown comes up on his basic. And they're using that just to poke.
Oh man, St. Vicious in mid lane again. Shushay getting caught out here again. He still doesn't have flash. He tries to get away, gets slowed, and immediately falls again. That's another kill for Saint Vicious there, who's just brutally murdering mid lane here. I don't know if Cyanide could have done anything, if he could have showed a little bit more presence and maybe babysat that lane, but you don't want to have your jungler that tied down as well. And that mid lane right now could not possibly be going better for CLG.
Yep, they're going to be pretty happy with this. I'm surprised they didn't send that swap earlier. One of the times he sort of raked and pushed to the turret to swap over, because I feel like Talon can pressure Ahri pretty well. Ahri, let's look at her sort of setup right here. Does not seem to have any bonus base armor. Doesn't really have anything like that. No really sustain either. Yeah, she open boots 3 potions, but you can chew through that as Talon. That's not hard to do.
Well, it looks like they're going to stay with these lanes for now. He did come back with a ward finally. The first time he died, he probably just wanted to buy his shoes and not... Well, he had shoes.
He bought a longsword and an extra potion instead of getting a ward, which I think was a mistake.
That's greedy. Yeah, that's very greedy as well. It's like, I want damage right now. And what for if you die? Cyanide coming in for a gank in bot lane, but there's a ward spotting him and they're just going to fall back from this easily enough. Shows actually putting a Q down to do some damage. Didn't quite hit. It's looking very good right now with a 2k gold advantage already for CLG early in this game. And we were saying that if Fnatic can win this, it's probably really just in the early game that they can win it.
Well, I do like their late game still, though. I don't feel like CLG's late game ramping is all that good. I mean, Galio's pretty strong, but I think Caitlyn, if Lamia can keep up, Caitlyn can fall off. Yeah,
but still, they may win the battle and lose the war, because if they take very long to win this, they may still be out of the tournament.
Well, the other opportunity, though, is if Dignitas is the one that goes 4-1, that slow win doesn't matter anymore. It's the Against Authority game that matters. Because then it depends, you know, how quick the games were with Against Authority versus CLG and the games of Against Authority versus Fnatic in this match here. It can go either way with it. So.
Saint Vicious now setting up for a gank in top lane. He's running in. The cleaver actually hits. Let's see if a charm is going to follow up as well. Oh, nicely dodged Pika, but he dodges right into the second cleaver and goes in for a last hit. Should be safe enough here as Vlad in top lane.
Yep, he's going to keep alive for here, and that's probably going to be fine for him. The minion kills, not too bad either. 46 on Ahri, 45 on this Vladimir, so they're keeping pretty much equal.
59 though to 26 CS in mid lane, and he bought a second long sword instead of getting a new ward. Not sure if I agree with that.
He's going for a brutalizer as soon as he can.
Yeah, I know, but it's not going to be that much of a damage jump for him. It's not like he's suddenly going to one-shot people with a brutalizer.
That's true, but he does need whatever he can, and once he gets to the team fight phase, he can still one-shot Ahri. You got that 1 second silence and the burst with everything else. You know, if you can at least catch up in levels, you know, get to level 9 by the time there's a really big team fight, he has really good burst potential. So it's pretty much up to 13 that he really gains a lot of damage every level up. Once you maxes out W and maxes out that Q. So he's going to get scarier and scarier as time goes on. It's just, can you hold on and stop feeding Hotshot? And with the Janna in there, you can blow back the Aurelia and things like that. So I feel like there's still a lot of possibilities here for Fnatic.
Yes, and he is, of course, maxing the W, the Rake, for just instant spammable damage. Yeah, that's the thing to do. I guess while there's a lull, we can have a quick look at who is maxing what. No surprises on Nocturne maxing Q there. Vladimir maxing Q as well. Oh, and actually Nocturne going in bot lane against Doublelift. Doublelift is very low right there. The Astral Albert picking it up there. Well done, and they keep going for Joster, forcing the flash out of him as well. That could be a dragon right now, Freak.
There is a chance at it, though. Aurelia still is a scary person. No teleports on either top lane, so they're actually going to be kind of stagnant there.
Oh, Shushay picking a fight with Hotshot here. That was probably not the thing he wanted to do. He takes the full ultimate as well. But they have now pulled the dragon, and I'm not sure that they can do this without their bottom lane. And
yeah, Galio's going to farm. They're going to get it.
Is top.
I don't think Hotshot can do much here. I think he would get CC'd out. Yeah, he just scouts it, kind of gets the timer. Says, okay, it's going to be about 15.5. 15:28 is going to be the respawn there. And you can see that the gold is almost all the way back there. They're still down 1,200 because of the earlier kills, but they're definitely catching up. Dragon plus that kill at bot is a pretty big deal, and Lamia now going to get pretty far ahead of Doublelift.
Shushay gets jumped in mid lane so badly that he has to actually use his ultimate just to survive. You never want to use an ultimate with offensive potential just to survive in a lane.
Yeah, but at the very least, it's a second flash for him. It's only a 75 or so second cooldown.
Yeah.
So as time wears on, he's going to get in a little bit better shape, especially if he gets, the brutalizer, etc. He does pick that up, that brutalizer now. It's going to lower that cooldown by 7.5 seconds, and so he can kind of use that to sort of get away. Once he gets enough AD, he can rake farm, etc. And so I think it's in damage control mode for Xuxe, where he still wants to build Glass Cannon because a tanky Talon won't do anything at all, and so he just wants to get to the point where he can survive Mundo ganks, and he can do that, I think, with his ultimate. And he wants to get to the point where he can one-shot Ahri, which he can if he keeps farming. And once he gets enough damage to one-shot things with Rake, like Morgana can with her Tormented Soil, then he'll start to be in a better place.
Bot lane is still rather even. Caitlyn is at 84 versus 75, so about 9 creep advantage there. But just the creep differential in mid lane, it's so painful to look at 90 to 36. It's not even close. That's like solo queue stomp level right there. The Fnatic tried to do the swap, but I think it actually backfired in that the Mundo ganks wouldn't have been quite as easy in top lane. So if they just stayed in top lane, it might have been better for Fnatic there.
Yeah, but Cyanide is back at bottom with the new ultimate. It looks like they still might want to jump into this. The problem is that Galio is, of course, level 6 now. So that was the problem last time, is Galio was 5, and he couldn't really stop Doublelift from dying. And they just kind of chained some ults together because Lamy had just hit 6.
Yep.
In this case, though, they've got really good reflexes on the Bulwark, keeping Doublelift from taking too much damage. And he's actually got an early Vamp Scepter as well, so he's going to sustain pretty nicely. But yeah, we're going to see how this pans out. This could get pretty scary. And
Doublelift is doing exactly what you said he would do. He just pushes under the tower and then uses his Q and his ridiculous range to keep poking Lamia. And every time Lamia gets a few hits in, Chaucer just puts the Bulwark down on Doublelift. So it is actually a very good lane. St. Vicious is now coming down. They may be setting up for a gank here, though I'm not quite sure it's going to be a lane gank, but Fnatic have this warded. They should see it, and St. Vicious is away of the ward as well. There's a Nocturne ultimate, but I'm not quite sure where he went mid lane.
Hotshot is going to go down. That burst damage is pretty good.
Wow, I didn't see that coming at all. Yeah, the icons just completely overlapped on him. I was like, where is he? Where did he go? Darkness.
Darkness happened. I went to the left-hand side, finally found the Nocturne icon. And you got the burst damage again, that brutalizer, right? You get enough burst damage and you finally start to do some good things. Now, Hotshot's still at 105 minions, so that's, really good, but that went really, really well.
Xuxe took the enemy Wraiths and is going home right now. Let's see if he has anything good to buy. I would expect probably Berserker's Greaves here, or is he going to go for the Murky Treads?
I would expect cooldown boots.
Honestly. Cool. So that makes sense as well. Let's see what he goes for.
He might be saving for BF Sword.
Yeah, he's saving for BF Sword.
Let me check his gold. And he's at
820.
Only 800, so he's got a while to go. He could have bought cooldown boots or most of Merc Treads. I got to call out Hotshot, though, for one mistake here as we watch Vladimir try to run away from Dr. Mundo. I think he should have went Ninja Tabby because he's going to take mostly physical damage here, and he's fighting against an AD champion, etc. PK still trying to run, will not juke that cleaver, but I don't know if they can dive the turret. They might go for it. No, St. Vicious is a little bit too low.
Yeah, he didn't have full, but I'm not sure how many turret shots Hotshot could have tanked at that point, really.
And they're going to give blue over to Talon now.
Of course he can go to Talon because he's sort of like an AD caster, so he can totally use blue, and Vladimir doesn't really need it. That's good. I like that. That's another advantage of the lineup. And the other blue, of course, being given to Ahri right now, who is more of a traditional caster. Ahri being top lane did screw with her taking blue a little bit, so Irelia is back top lane right now with all that farm. She should be doing really well against Vladimir. Yeah, it looks pretty good. She's bullying him really hard. And Xuxe jumping in on Big Fat. The silence is actually going to hurt against Ahri. If he gets the silence off before she can get a taunt off. Actually, can he jump over the taunt?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, cool. Let's see if he actually manages to pull that off.
Yeah, he could totally, pop that cutthroat and juke over Charm. It'd be really hard to do, but honestly, he could do it.
All right, bot lane still more farming. Cyanide did come for a gank in top lane. Nothing much happened. St. Vicious is just around the corner. They may dive this, but very, very aggressive dive there. Ignite going on Cyanide, so Cyanide is going to fall as well. It's a 1-for-1 exchange. Not sure St. Vicious wants to stay. He just did pop the ultimate, so he does a lot of damage against Piki, who doesn't have his blood pool right now, and he may actually go down to Dr. Mundo, and he does. Completely by himself, Dr. Mundo taking down Vladimir. I didn't quite expect to see that.
Well, that was impressive. Talon tried to come up. Actually, there's no ward coverage, so he could tower dive Mundo, but he doesn't know he's there. So.
Yeah. He's just going to... I think he's probably going to stay top now, and they're just going to reset it that way.
Yeah, at the very least, gain some free farm out of it.
Yeah, that's true. And at the 50 minutes, Mark Baron just spawned, just to point that out. It's not super relevant, but I said it.
Baron's now on the map. It's a possibility, and he's going to just... You just saw Shushe AoE farm that minion wave down. You're going to see he's up to 14,500 gold, or 14,500, sorry. Still not enough for BF Sword.
Big fight coming through Fnatic's jungle right now for a gank on bot lane, but there's a good ward in... No, actually, there's a CLG ward in Tribe Rush, so...
Galio has flash, yeah, they could pick up the kills if they wanted.
But 2 members of Fnatic are also coming bot lane right now because they have Dragon Timer. St. Vicious has just pulled it right now, and Galio is coming in with the assist, but 5 members of Team Fnatic are around, so if they move quickly enough, they can engage on this and possibly turn it around for them. And it looks like they're gonna let Dragon reset, and Fnatic are like, you know what, I will take that Dragon from you. We are just going to kill it really quickly, pull it a little bit in our way, and yep. Irelia is going to take top turret for that, and they may actually take mid turret. No, they don't have time.
He's going to die. Hotshot can't take this yet. And he already blew his ult last time, so he can't immediately push this. We'll see if they can get over there in time. Looks like Vlad's running as fast as he possibly can. I like this AoE lineup from Fnatic. Again, they have that Talon Vladimir combo. Ezra ult as well, pretty good for that. And we're going to see if Galio can make that happen on the other side here. But one thing to point out is they've got a 4 melee team here. A 3 melee team against Janna, which you saw that happen last time when they fought against Dignitas. Did not go that well, but they kind of got burned by Janna ults.
The other thing is, again, support Galio. Is he going to survive through his own ultimate? Is he going to be tanky?
I mean, he can
enough
bulwark himself. It shouldn't be too bad. You look at him; he's actually maxing bulwark now after Q.
Vladimir getting caught there in top lane again, a little bit too far. The cleaver misses, so it doesn't really matter. He's still slowed enough. He puts his own ultimate down. He blood pulls it. There's a Nocturne ultimate coming in, so they're turning this around right now. It's probably not going to be enough. Actually, it is going to be enough to take down St. Vicious. Good slow.
Oh my gosh.
Come on, one attack. Yes, he shielded himself against another slow, and they may actually want to dive this. They get a flash out of Hotshot. So that was well done. He just...
Shushe's coming. Shushe's coming to drop Hotshot.
Oh, man.
Do they have a Clairvoyance?
Where did he come from?
They have a Clairvoyance. They could use it. He doesn't need it. Oh, it goes off. Yes, that is the kill.
Nicely
and Fnatic
done.
now, for the first time, winning in kills, and now actually winning in gold as well. With the turret kill up, they're actually starting to take the lead over Counter Logic Gaming. And this has got a whole lot more interesting. Fnatic
there's a lot of
some things happen.
There's a lot of pressure on Fnatic still, though, because they can't just say, oh yeah, we're winning, let's just wait it out. They need to make something happen very, very soon. I think they didn't take red. Red wasn't up. But they need to make something happen very soon, because once again, they are only going to be 3-2, and they are going to be in a 3-way tie of 3 teams. That's a very hard sentence to say for me. That are 3-2, and the decider is going to be how quick have these teams won against each other. So the quicker they can make this win happen, the better.
And this is going to be pretty crucial. So we're going to see now the bottom lane. Lami, 157 minions, actually still getting out CS by Doublelift, but Doublelift is on her way, Caitlyn is on her way back from the base to try to get some minions.
Yeah, sorry, he is getting out. I feel confused to portraits. And Big Fat jumping, using his ultimate to actually jump into safety. Cyanide, so Shushi dodging all of that. And I'm liking what I'm seeing here right now. This is the playstyle that Trisha needs, this go in and kill someone playstyle. It does seem to be working for him a lot better than what he tried in top lane before. The Wukong just didn't come together at all.
Indeed. And by the way, for those wondering, Talon was played before as well from Fnatic. Shushe had played him against Millennium and got a win there. Nice. So this is not the first time they've been running Talon in this tournament. This is the second time, and so far 1-0. So that's pretty good so far for them.
Very nice. And you called it as well. He went for the long sword. He didn't go for cooldown boots. He went for Murky Threads. I guess it makes sense with charm around from Ahri. You don't want to be locked down as a squishy melee caster. Yeah. Bot lane is still pushing pretty hard there, and I'm actually surprised by how good the Galio support is. The Bulwark does make you very, very tanky there. So that's working well. It's again Shushe on Talon against Big Fat GG on Ahri in mid lane now. Shushe doesn't want to pick any fights. He just wants to use his rake to farm up, and with blue buff he can do that as much as he pleases, even though he's not Mundo.
Yep, and yeah, Big Fat's going for he actually used this build before. He's going for the early Hextech Revolver and then into Rylays, so he's going to be a tanky guy. But bot lane, a little bit of pressure going on there. Looks like Double's going to make it out and be alive.
PK is trying to do something against Hotshot there. He's probably just poking a little bit, taking golems as well. So he is now bullying.
He could zone Aurelia if he wanted to. Just need some wards.
The bullier has become the bullied, pretty much. That didn't work. Anyway, Ari going into Fnatic's jungle, probably just ward. Let me see, does she even have a ward? No, she does not. So just checking what's going on in that jungle. Did you time Dragon Freak?
No, I forgot what the timer was entirely.
Me neither. I'm the support player. I should be doing it, but I'm not very good. Yeah, so Dragon could be coming up again soon. The first 2 dragons went to Fnatic pretty much uncontested, but still they're only about 700, 600 gold ahead of CLG, who are doing a great job farming, and they're totally not fussed by this. They're like, we're losing a little bit, you know what? So what? We're just going to keep farming and take it into the very, very late game where we are unbeatable. Also, one thing to point out, Freak, 4 kills for CLG, yes, but they're all on Dr. Mundo.
Oh, wow.
Who is investing in tankiness, which is nice and all, but, you can kind of ignore him in a team fight. I mean, he's going to slow one person, going to do some damage with his Burning Agony, but it's not that much. And ultimate going down from Ezreal in bot lane just to, I guess, push the wave a little bit so he can go home safely enough. Yeah,
and that's
pretty simple.
Yeah, it wasn't based off Dragon. I think it was just a recall. Now, Mundo, by the way, I mean, you say he's not going to do a whole lot of damage, but he's actually maxed that W, that Burning Agony first. So it's 100 DPS, which really doesn't suck very much. It's basically like rank almost 1 Crow Storm the entire time. That's not too bad. He's getting Cleaver second.
Wow,
a couple points in Masochism as well. So, he's going to be a decent damage threat. But you're right, he is building tanky. He's not getting like a Zeke's Herald or anything like that to sort of build up that attack speed. But, he's still got that constant just damage threat from Burning Agony. That might just be enough for him. We'll see how that pans out.
Yeah. Of course, with the bursty setup of Fnatic, because he can't really lock one down that much. You said it's 100 DPS, which is certainly a lot, but the question is, how many S are you going to have? How many seconds is the fight going to last? Yes, there's the dragon pickup for Fnatic. 3rd dragon, completely uncontested. I don't know that CLG even knew this was happening. Now we have a 1.3k gold advantage for Fnatic, and they're coming in on Big Fat LG. And also there's the ultimate from Cyanide going down. Is he going to get the fear proc? No. Jumps across the wall, but Big Fat LP is slowed right now. He has to use his ultimate to get out of this. And I think they're going to be happy forcing an ultimate and a flash. I mean, they used 1 ultimate, 2 ultimates themselves. So that's okay. That's not bad. And they took bot turret at the same time.
Yeah, they did more or less trade those. Actually, no, mid turret actually still alive. Actually, they're jumping on St. Vicious a little bit. Some good damage there. They've got to be a little bit afraid of this, though. If he could get jumped on, the Cleaver just barely misses. Hotshot can land the QE, could do some good damage. And they got that bottom turret. That's 2 turrets to 0. But that mid turret super low. The bottom turret's, bottom turret down below a 1/3. The top turret only at half. So CLG, if they ever get some map control, can immediately take pretty much any of those 3 turrets if they ever want to.
Melisande just picked up an Oracles for himself. I don't see an Oracles on the enemy team quite yet. So it looks like Fnatic are now posturing to take map control, put their own wards down, clear out the enemy's wards. This is, of course, exactly the kind of thing you want to do in mid-game. This enables ganks, this enables, roaming kill squads in the enemy forest, that kind of thing. Xpega getting chunked nicely there by, whoa, that was just the combo from Big Fat LP. But he is, of course, a Hemomancer, so he's just going to Hemomance himself up to full health again very, very quickly. It's a verb, right?
Sure, why not?
Top lane Shushe is getting dove on a little bit by Hotshot and St. Vicious. He's going to be fine though, and probably going to use his rake to farm all of that nicely enough. He is now at 137 farm versus Aurelia's 179, so he's still behind, but not as badly as he could have been.
Yep, and the freshly completed Bloodthirster only at 7 stacks so far, so you got an interesting situation here for Fnatic, where they can wait a little while longer, get some stacks back up, and could have grow the power there. This is actually a little bit bad for PK. They're going to jump in there. Big Fat LP jumping in. He's going to run away from Hotshot, but here comes Galio, and everyone else is going to pool. He does dodge some of that, but does not have flash. Does get dropped down. 5-5 now the score. Still a 1,700 gold advantage for Fnatic, but they were unable to pressure that blue, and there goes the jump.
Yeah.
See, I don't know if Lamia really should go for the steal there. This is pretty scary.
It is very scary. He tries to steal it with his ultimate, doesn't quite do it, but does a good amount of damage to Chauster there. Why was Xpeke in that particular corridor going into the enemy forest? What was he doing there?
Well, he was initially going, I think, near the turret, and Hotshot came from the top left right here, so he ran right away instead of like straight down. Straight down probably would have been the better choice. Wouldn't have gotten caught by Galio, but ultimately just the CC was enough to drop him down.
Right, the game definitely is super open right now, and it seems to be going CLG's way in that they are allowed to just take it into late game. You did point out correctly that fnatic have a good late game setup, and as we see Cyanide diving into Hotshot, I don't know how much damage he can do here. Does get the fear off, but gets stunned, of course, as Hotshot fell lower than him. And Saint Vicious just came out of the corner, and we miss a kill pickup in bot lane, but we're going to stay top lane Freak as they are diving in right now on Cyanide, who has to use a flash to get away. And is going to be fine. Lamia is actually doing an impressive job here, I have to say. And oh, they're diving in on Silent again, but Xpeke is just around the corner right now. Lamia falling dangerously. There's an ignite on him. He's going to be fine though. Xpeke is slowing down Saint Vicious, getting him super low as well. Nobody really wants to fight, but talent is coming from mid lane. Xpeke could have probably chased that a little bit more. Maybe he didn't want to give away position of Shushay.
The clairvoyance might be enough. Oh, the great cleaver, so he's going to go for it anyway. He actually got stunned. Can he get the ult off? He's actually going to drop down to Hotshot. He'll trade though.
Yeah, but there was an assist for CLG and no assist goal for fnatic, so that was not a good trade.
Yeah, Shushay dove in with his ult still down. Actually, he'd actually already blown that, so that really would have hurt him because he would have gotten that kill without getting owned.
Yeah.
Did trade, lost blue buff for it, and all his Bloodthirster stacks. At that point, it's not worth it, man.
How does Ezreal compare to Caitlyn in the late game?
I gotta think Ezra's going to have a better late game right here. He's got his Trinity Force, which is a little bit of an early game centered choice instead of going for like Infinity Edge. But you look at the build of Caitlyn, she's only got Infinity Edge, doesn't have a Zeal or any other crit items yet, only Xerxes for attack speed. So right now, Ezreal's just more powerful than Caitlyn. As far as, you know, in a perfect world, I think gotta hand it to Ezreal. I think his passive is just a bigger DPS increase than Caitlyn's gonna have. And he has, for example, you know, a great attack speed buffs there. He's going to help out Talon and Nocturne. He's going to nerf Aurelia and Dr. Mundo. And so
I see what you did there.
As Ezreal nerfs Aurelia for us, NP.
Nice, well done.
So yeah, I like his overall utility and damage late game.
Oh, what actually happened there, he just put it in chat, Phage luck, I love you double. So I guess he just got 2 Phage procs on Caitlyn. That's how he could kill him there.
Oh, wow.
It happens sometimes. I mean, there's still a little bit of an element of luck, even though we did remove dodge from the game.
Still got Phage.
It happens. And you know what, Lamia did admit that it was luck there.
Yeah, sure. But it looks like they really... Oh my gosh, Shushay just totally got caught. A great ult gets him out though. And oh my gosh, the damage output on all of CLG, and they have no healers unless Chowster can get some really good... Oh my gosh, Shushay got caught again. This time, no ultimate. Takes a lot of damage there. Will drop down, and Saint Vicious is going to just jump in there. Let's see if they can get any damage. There's the Chowster ult. They broke it pretty quickly, but Lamia not in great shape anymore. Caitlyn's going to come out. Big Fat LP going for the damage up, but they don't stomp him down, and they're going to pick up what might be almost an ace. They picked up 4 kills in a row. And they're going to run for Baron if they have enough health for it.
Do. And that, I mean, you can get caught once. Okay, it's fine. You have an ultimate. You can get out of it. But twice in a row, really?
That really hurt him.
Yeah, you really don't want to do this. Now, Cyanide, turn on hero mode and steal that Baron away from 5 members of the enemy team. I want to see that.
They're low on health, but he's been revealed. Spell shield goes off. It's down really low. He can't get it. Hotshot's going to actually chase him out right now. Cyanide going to be turned into a kill. Yeah, there's the Baron pickup. So CLG now, 2,000 gold in the lead. Have just picked up Baron. Finally getting themselves back in a favor. And Hotshot, the chase is on, and that will be a kill up on Cyanide. And that's pretty excellent for them.
That turned the game around so very quickly. It looked for a moment as fnatic were taking the decisions here, were actually in the driving seat, but if you get caught like that, CLG are the kind of team that understand what just happened and say, okay, cool, you're handing us the game? Cool, we'll take it, thanks.
Yeah, seriously the case. Lamia could not quite stand up to Big Fat LP. You saw him kind of in a duel right there. Pretty much in melee range. Melisande did give Ezreal that shield, and it was just not quite enough to win that.
But they are going for Dragon again, so, I mean, it's a little bit, at least it keeps them in the game, I guess. CLG still have no idea of the Dragon timers this game. They have no idea that there's even a Dragon on this map. I don't think they've seen it.
35-10 is going to be Dragon, 35-40 going to be Baron. They're going to jump in here. PK taking a lot of damage and a half immediately.
Wow.
They're just going to back out real quick. And that Galio shield really doing a good job at stopping this aggression.
Yeah. Xpeke is a lot squishier than he looks. I mean, he does have a good amount of health, but that's from the AP and from the Crystal Scepter. He doesn't have any defensive stats at the moment from items.
Yeah, this could get pretty scary for him.
And Cyanide eating a cupcake there that Caitlyn thoughtfully left out for him.
Aw, how sweet.
Yeah, it's very nice of her.
Yeah. There's that push at top. Finally, Dr. Mundo picks one up there. And you're going to see CLG. They already got that mid turret a little while ago, so it's 2 turrets to 2.
Yeah, and they're going for the blue again on Shushay. Let's see who he's going to give it to. The push coming in from CLG right now. I kind of like pushing bot lane after taking Baron, because bot lane is somewhere you never want to be when Baron is up. So this would be a nice time to push bot lane. It doesn't really make a difference at this point. They can really push anywhere they like. They are... They have quite a good advantage at this point. Green pot on Caitlyn as well, so she can pop that whenever she wants to have a nice bit of damage increase. Red pot on Talon, so it's at least a little bit defensive if he needs it.
It's his second red elixir of the game. He got one earlier as well.
Oh wow, okay. Cynet now finally figuring out how to level up shield, so that's good for him.
Helps a lot, yeah.
Yep.
18 stacks on the Bloodthirster there for Talon. I think he's the only Bloodthirster in this game, so the one stacks we can, the one set of stacks we can follow easily. Xpeke
trying to defend against Hotshot there in top lane. He should be fine. Yeah, Hotshot is going to rotate around mid lane, and they caught Cyanide between 2 shields. But as soon as the charm was over, he shielded himself again. St. Vicious just doesn't care about Qs from Ezreal at all. Ezreal doesn't do any damage as well. Well, that's going to be a tower falling down. Hotshot jumping in, Xpeke immediately pooling. He is going to be fine. They don't seem to want to follow this up. I have to stop myself from laughing whenever I hear the squishy sound of the plastic cleaver.
Yep, absolutely. But looks like the ults level 3 for most of both teams at this point, so St. Vicious not going to be dying really anytime soon. Actually didn't go for Warbox despite the early stack, but does have Randuin's and Aegis. Also a Wit's End, so he's really going to be all about just throwing out damage repeatedly. And this could get pretty interesting. Cyanide just taking more and more damage. Shushay getting hurt as well, but at least can farm minions out. But this turret now down to half health. Look at Double just sitting there, right-clicking over and over, and you see the turret now down about 20%. And Hot is going to take it, and they're going to go for this turret right here. This is going to look really good for CLG. They still got this Baron buff. fnatic does not want to fight into a Baron buff team with a Galio ult.
Yes, absolutely not. Galio is going to survive probably even through the... I mean, they can't really deliver that burst while he's ulting. So even if they do take out Galio right after his ult, he's going to have disturbed them, interrupted them for long enough that CLG would have done enough damage to win the fight. It looks like CLG are just going to keep bringing the momentum forward that they had coming out of that last game. They are looking very confident again. It looked a little bit shaky there, but it's going into that mid to late game phase now, and that's just where they're at home, and they know what to do here.
Melisande trying to run away from St. Vicious, not doing a good job of that though. Those cleavers really hurting them. There comes Ezreal, does land a Fade or Trinity Force proc at that point. And they've got to be a little bit careful though. Dr. Mundo still throwing out these cleavers. fnatic going to run all the way back into their base. They'll survive this, but they're not super happy right now. The gold advantage, 5,000 gold at this point.
Wow.
And it would be 9,000, but they got 4 dragons so far.
Wow, yes. It's quite good to kill those dragons. Sometimes they store shiny, valuable things in their hoards. So well
2
done.
minutes away from the next one.
Yeah, very good. Last Whisper probably being built on Caitlyn right now. She has the Infinity Edge. She also has the PD, and she's just keeping the Vamp Scepter in her inventory for a little bit of lifesteal there. I'm not sure what could happen right now. fnatic need a perfect initiate where they take out one of the squishies right away. They do have the burst for it, but CLG are playing super carefully and confidently as well. I mean, they know when they can go in, and the rest of the time they're just doing such a good job protecting him. With the 613 Dr. Mundo from St. Vicious, that's almost ban-worthy right there. Next time somebody plays against CLG.
I think it's the second time they've played Mundo as well. I didn't see all the offline games, but they ran that the very first day against the very first match against Dignitas. They're running it the very last match here against fnatic. We're going to see how that pans out for them. Shushay getting more stacks. 27 now. He's getting closer to this late game scenario. And that ult can hit really hard once he gets max stacks. I mean, look at the damage here. It's going to be 400 damage each side. Sorry, a little bit of that's cut off on the stream, but 400 damage each side on that ult. And you multiply that with the Vlad ult, etc., and you're going to do a lot of pain here. So you're going to back with this turret, another bit of gold income for them. Dragon's coming up in 50 seconds. Baron's in about a minute.
Yep. They're setting up to defend this this inhibitor turret now. That's, of course, they need to. They can't just keep giving inhibitors to the enemy. Cyanide gets caught again there. He's going to be fine. Does lose a good bit of damage, and that's the problem when you're being sieged by Caitlyn. She has all this time to put out the cupcakes, and if Cyanide goes in there with his shield to eat them, he can get charmed by Ahri, and that's going to be a rather dead Nocturne. They are probably just going to siege, just do as much damage as they can to the turret until Baron respawns. But until then, I mean, if they can get the turret, they'll take it, but I don't see them overcommitting, really, Freak.
Yeah, CLG are very good at being patient. You can see the amount of spam they have here. They're even using the Caitlyn ult just to poke and deal damage.
Yep.
Cyanide tried to block that with his spell shield, was not quite able to. So now, you know, the Shushay down about half health is not a happy place for him. And they're going to be back in Steel Blue.
Well, he can just lifesteal that very, very quickly with all that AD, and he's going to get near max stacks very soon if I can manage to hover over. Yeah, it's at 34 out of 40. So he's soon going to have max stacks, which doesn't matter at all because CLG are taking Baron. Uncontested almost, I feel. There's the Nocturne ultimate, but where can you really go? They do turn around on him. And, oh, good damage against Doublelift. Cyanide is following Doublelift now, but he can kite him all game long. The ulti from Vladimir was down, but he was not enough. XP he is dead already. Melisande using his ultimate, keep himself safe. I don't see it happening either. Shushay is dead already. Lamia flashing across the wall. Big Fat LP flashing after him, picking him up as well. And that's 4 for nothing right there. And I can see the surrender coming at this point, really.
Yeah, CLG did a phenomenal job in that fight right there. They pretty much split everyone out perfectly. Everyone kind of juked around the right ways. No one got front load bursted on CLG really. You know, they opened up on XPK. He got hit really, really hard, and he didn't really recover after that. He was ignited and couldn't get any more health back. And he pretty much blew up. Melisande did get the ult off, but it just was not enough to reset that fight properly. And they just, they couldn't get anything else done. Chowson didn't even have to use his ultimate. They just completely blew that one up. And there we go.
It is.
CLG going to be moving on to day 3. They have gone 4-1 in their group, and they're going to be A-OK. Fnatic 2-3 in this group, not going to be too happy about this one. And we're going to have to see what's going on between Dignitas and against Authority.
Yeah. So, that means that does CLG still have a shot at first place in the group?
It depends who the other team is, because CLG's only lost to Dignitas, right? So Dignitas actually did win against Authority. So Dignitas and CLG both 4-1, and Dignitas beat CLG. So Dignitas should, I believe, be first seed. Now CLG being 4-1 means they're second seed, and against Authority being 3-2 means that they are the third seed. Fnatic as a 2-3 team. Alternate might also be 2-3. So I don't know how that's going to stack up for 4th and 5th in the group if they happen to win.
Yeah, it doesn't matter that much for us because we are really just interested in the teams that are going to move on. So let's just recap it really easily. It's going to be Dignitas, CLG, and AAA moving on into the next stages. So whoever took first place, you're only going to see them again on Thursday for the quarterfinals.
No, first place is semifinals on Thursday.
For the semifinals, yes.
Because it's tomorrow, which is Wednesday, is Group B. Thursday is the quarterfinals. Friday is the semifinals.
So on Friday, yes.
So you will see Dignitas again on Friday for the semifinals. The quarterfinal matches will be on Thursday, and that's going to be CLG and Against All Authority. Tomorrow, of course, on Wednesday, we're going to have SK Gaming, Team Solo Mid, Moscow 5, Cypher, eHome, and now thank you, Curse. There we go. Are going to be the other teams who are going to be fighting in Group B. Same structure as before. Number 1 seed going to go through up to Friday's matches in the semifinals. They're going to fight for those next 2 slots as well to make it to the quarters, and they're going to be fighting against these teams from Group A as well. And you don't want to be fighting against CLG and Against All Authority for survival. That's really scary. So
absolutely. Yep.
It's going to be some crazy stuff.
I believe we're probably going to have an interview rather soon on the stage. But that should be it for us for this day. Do tune in tomorrow again. We will have a very exciting group stage tomorrow as well. Moscow 5 will have to see how they can carry forward the momentum from Kiev. They were totally dominant there, but TSM said, you know what, we figured out how to beat them right now. SK said, well, we've known all along how to beat them, we just weren't in form at Kiev. And eHome, unfortunately the only Chinese team that could make it out, but still, I saw them in Guangzhou and they were no slouches. They can totally turn that group around. I mean, nobody expects much from them because they've not been in the limelight so much, but they can absolutely turn that group around and just take first place even. We don't know anything. It's going to be a very exciting day again tomorrow, Freak.
Yeah, absolutely the case. And actually, I was talking with Chaos from Team Solo Mid in the audience in the last game as we were watching. I believe it was Fnatic. I'm now just.
Fnatic versus AAA, yes.
Yeah, Fnatic against All Authority, and we're talking. And I was asking, who are you afraid of for the next group? Yeah, basically, who are you most afraid of? And he's like, ourselves. Like, we think we can beat any team here. We know we can throw it, but we're gonna hope not to. I asked him which players were still nervous. He's like, me personally, I don't really get nervous anymore. Odd1 does sometimes, and he's like, isn't that right, Odd1? And he's like, yeah, I get nervous. and I don't know about the rest of that roster, but if you're a big Team Solo Mid fan, a little bit of following there, you get a little bit of that information. Moscow 5, they've got a lot of rivalries out there. SK Gaming is gonna be the first time using their new jungler, Dedrayan.
Dedrayan, yes.
Yeah,
they've been boot camping the last 4 or 5 days in the SK office. So it is definitely going to be a super exciting day of group matches.
Yep.
And I believe we have the interview ready right now for you on the stage, so we are going to give over to the interview, and let's hear the last couple of words for this first group stage day here at Hanover. All right. Okay, cool.
All right, guys, thanks. And here we are on stage with CLG and fnatic. Just had a pretty good matchup head-to-head. Coming out of the last game of the day, you guys struggled a little bit. You had great games. Where do you think you faltered, and what are you going to take away from today mostly?
What I'm going to take away is we had pretty good games as Fnatic. We weren't that strong lately, so we're pretty happy we did 2 wins here, and we didn't make it closely. But the last game was really great. We had a rough start, but got back. When we fucked up in the middle, kind of lost it there, we got caught, and then they took the lead and really kept it.
Right on. And in the beginning, what was the team composition and the lane switching? Was this all according to what you guys wanted, or what were you trying to make that happen?
Yeah, it was preemptively thought out that I wanted to lane versus Talon, because Talon just doesn't do good versus Aurelia, especially with ganks. So.
And then Shushay, his pick was to counter Ahri.
Actually, we wanted to play Talon against Galio. Yeah. And that didn't work out because they changed it, and their bottom lane was really out-pushing us at the start, but we got the lead with a kill, so we could hold that. It worked out pretty well for us. But yeah, when they took back the game, it was really hard for us to get back in because Mundo was fat, Aurelia got a lot of team gold, so they were really tanky.
Yeah, that's amazing. To bring that back up is what they said, is they thought they were going to be facing Galio in middle, so that's actually what the Talon pick came from, and that actually worked out in your favor pretty well. Other than that, what do you guys have any more tricks up your sleeve coming through this tournament?
We always have tricks, man. We always have tricks, so we're hoping to pull them out sooner, tomorrow. I mean, not tomorrow, next series of games that we play.
Right on. Well, good job to both teams, guys. I believe we're going to cut to some commercials, and we'll have right here for Lynn and D-Man to close out the day.
Intel Extreme Masters.
What an awesome way to start off the Intel Extreme Masters World Championships and you know it's only going to get better. Now, if you guys want more info, feel free to check out ESL TV's website, beta.esl.tv, and also we'll be back tomorrow at 9 a.m. CET. Now, in the meantime, StarCraft and Counter-Strike are still streaming, so be sure to check that out. Oh, and I'm going to pass it on to D-Man, because I think you're going to recap today's events on the LoL stage.
Yeah, so we've obviously had a massive day of League of Legends throughout the day. It's been huge tournaments throughout. Literally from 9 o'clock onwards, we've had non-stop top matches. And finally, obviously, we've had the final standings come out. So Dignitas will be going straight through to the semi-finals. They have topped the group, which means we won't see them play until Friday. They've got themselves a couple of days off now. And coming in second place was CLG, which you just saw beating out Fnatic there. That's managed to put them into second place, straight towards the semi-finals, alongside Against All Authorities will be finishing third place. So they'll be 3 finalists. The question is, who will join them? And tomorrow, obviously, you've got the great big names of Team Solo Mid, SK Gaming, Moscow 5. It's never ending. It's going to be some awesome matches tomorrow.
Right, an exciting day indeed. And I want to thank our sponsors, the staff, the audience, and of course, you guys at home. Thank you very much, and we'll see you all tomorrow morning.
And he goes jumping in. Amazing round. Great hat-trick from Taz.
He flashes in and casts the ultimate. What he held up. Oh, no, super flash. The shield clutch.
Oh, a blink into all those years of the amazing defense. Champion of the Intel Extreme Masters.